today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome back to Shop Talk, episode 122. This week's rookie episode was something to say the least. We had Celina graduating and Seth getting in trouble yet again, but also kind of growing up a little bit, and like offering to do something. And then Bailey and Nolan working things out along with James and Nyla, which we love to see.
Mhm.
There was a lot going on, so we'll dig in. So we kind of talked about it just before we started recording about like how this episode, I don't know, I think to me felt like a filler. Like we were wrapping up some storylines to like propel things forward and like bring in like the James and Nyla like liaison thing, but it was also just kind of like, okay, we're here. Like
Yeah.
it just felt like a
Hmm.
filler episode. Like we just kind of gotta keep it going to like get through.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, so I'm back with our friend Kristen, and we're gonna dig into the episode. But first, we just have one piece of news. It was a Variety article with Jenna, that Max, who usually writes for TV Guide, had put out. And he just kind of asked her a couple of things, her experience working with Steve. And she said, I think it was fun for him to play a really bad guy, and it was fun for me to be able to unleash on him. They'd say cut, and we'd just look at each other and start laughing. Um, which is fun to hear, good to hear. Like, I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like it's probably just easy.
Hmm.
Um, but then she also touched on the fight scene at the end of episode 5 and what kind of story she wanted to tell. And Jenna said she had to find, Bailey had to find her own way to fight back against it because for so many years in this situation, she was always the victim and the one having to take it. You can see she's finally at the point where she says, I don't care anymore. I'm done with this, breaking his arm and punching him. And Bailey found her power and was able to end the cycle, which, yeah, after like thinking about it, like she definitely
Hmm.
was taking back control in that situation. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna keep doing this
Hmm.
anymore.
Absolutely.
Um, and then Jenna touched on what Bailey was able to get out of finally being able to like open up about Jason to Diana. And Jenna had said Diana came into Bailey's life to mirror her own sensitivities and her own blind spots. And Diana represented the example, like example of you're living with it and you're bearing it down, but you need to realize how much this affected you, and it's okay to acknowledge that. So she's finally letting her guard down. And then Max also asked to like, will Bailey and Nolan resume the talks of expanding their family with that option? Which I like kind of forgot about. Like
Me
I'm
too.
sad to say, but I was just kind of like, oh yeah, we were going there. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. There
yeah,
was a lot of other things that we went into and
yeah,
got pushed to
yeah.
the wayside for sure. Yeah.
hmm And so Jenna said it's definitely still on the table, and I think they both want it. It's just timing. They both have extreme jobs, and there's an understanding that it might not be the right time for them to address it until there's more stability, which makes sense,
Yeah.
especially because, I mean, like you hear people say like there's never a right time, but I feel like with
Yeah.
adoption, like you're kind of able to give yourself that right time.
Yes.
Um, I mean, unless like it's thrust upon you, but.
Hmm.
And then Jenna also talked about, or Max also asked Jenna if there's any legal consequences for her actions later in the season, which I definitely saw some
Mm.
chatter online about like Bailey and John not getting legal consequences, but like
Mm.
everyone else has had consequences, for
Hmm.
like much smaller things than this.
Yeah. Right.
And so Jenna said yes and no. Of course, there's moral complexities of the situation, but
Hmm.
there's also some factors that present themselves that explain certain things a little bit more. So it
Hmm.
appears one way, but then you realize that there's more to the story.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Mm.
It'll be interesting to see because, I mean, John Nolan's probably, I don't know, he's gotten like stalled like in his like process as a rookie before. Like he was the last one to
Right.
graduate, but.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, when it's Bailey that did it, but like he knew about it, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll be definitely very interesting to see what happens with that.
hmm It's
Especially
gonna
since
be,
he
oh,
oh, I
go
was just
for
gonna
it.
say it was he was very like upset with her in the Valentine's Day episode. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and like, how did you destroy evidence? Like, how dare you? And she was all like in the feeling and the more like all that type of
Yeah.
stuff. Like, you don't know what it's like to, be a woman that's abused and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, but they see eye to eye this time in this episode.
Right.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah. Well, and like, what kind of punishment does he get? Because, it was her that did it, but like, he
Mm-hmm.
also was kind of like not working with Malvado, but like he came across him and like was
Mm-hmm.
sharing that work information with Bailey, which he probably
Yeah.
shouldn't have done because she's so close
Right.
to the case too.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I don't know. It's like patient doctor confidentiality. Like you can't go
Yeah.
home and tell, your significant other what patient A went through. So
Right.
I would think that there's some kind of like circumstances and legalities and like rules to that for the police,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
especially when it involves like a loved one. But then
Right.
I don't know because yeah, like she did kind of deserve to know, but yeah, she shouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
taken it. So I feel like it's just gonna set up for like a big kind of puzzle of, well, where do we go from here with them? Like
Yeah.
what piece is gonna go in
Mm-hmm.
here next? So
Right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, that's all on the news. We're just gonna talk about the episode, because there was a lot. And yeah, so we'll touch on Celina's last day as a rookie first, and some of the Balin
Yay.
stuff, because our girl graduated her rookie period, which yay, so
Woo.
exciting.
Yes.
Now I just need them to keep her around forever and ever
They
because
do.
love
Yes.
her.
Mm-hmm. She's great.
Yeah. So John's in the locker room and everyone's telling him to hang in there. Like he's minding his own business, getting ready for the day. And
Yes.
everyone's like, hang in there, we're on your side, buddy. And he's just like, what's going on? Which
Yeah.
is classic John Nolan. I
Right.
mean, let's be real. And Tim walks up and we've had a lot of locker room scenes this season so
We
far.
have. Yeah.
And I'm loving
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm loving it.
Yeah. That's cool.
So Tim tells him that everyone's heard about him and Bailey, and cops gossip more than middle schoolers. Um, and then Smitty comes up and he's like, the first marriage is just a trial run. There's no shame in divorce. Every cop goes through it. And John's like, this isn't my first marriage though. And he's like, no divorce is happening. It's justified. And Smitty doesn't believe it because why would he? And he gives John the number of a lawyer that he's used for his last 3 divorces. Did we know that? We've never even known that this
No,
man was married.
this is new
Maybe
piece of information.
yeah, maybe that's why he
Definitely.
lives in like the RV trailer thing. Because like
He
he's
got
gotten so
kicked
many
out.
divorces
Yeah.
and like he pays a lot in alimony or something. Like, I don't
Yep.
know. This
Probably.
man is an enigma. That's for
Yes.
sure. Because we learn a lot about him. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe not. I don't really know in this episode, but
Mm-hmm.
Smitty like is just an icon. He is the moment. He is the moment.
Yes. He did get some
Yeah.
chances to shine, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. He got
Yeah.
bigger
Yeah.
moments this time. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So John asks how many times he's been married, and I love that Tim's just standing there and he's just like, why am I here? Why am I subjecting
Mm-hmm.
myself to this?
Right.
And so Smitty's like, just this decade, only 3 times. And I was like, so 3 times in like 10 years.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's
But we
like,
don't know how many total.
yeah, yeah. But that's like 3 years, like per wife or per marriage.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Well.
I would be interested to see how he like him on a date with someone. Like
Yes,
I tweeted the other night and I was like, I need an entire spinoff of Smitty.
we do.
Because
Yeah,
this man just keeps providing the content.
he
Like,
does.
I mean,
Yes.
even if it's a mini series, something. But yeah, like I don't know. We know how he is at work, that I would love to
Mhm.
see him like, I don't know, either undercover or like
Mhm.
he's like flirted with some like like a citizen at the station, and like he
Yeah.
asks her out, and like it's kind of an awkward date.
Ooh, or
Yeah.
when if he's a rookie, when he was a rookie, we should
Yes.
see that.
A
That would be really
prequel to that.
cool.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it'd be cool
Yeah.
to see him in his early days.
Yeah. Because I wonder, like, if him and Gray, like, not even necessarily when he was a rookie, but like when he was meeting like all of the different police officers that we know, like Gray,
Mm,
Tim, Angela, like seeing
right.
him like through the years would be cool, but then to see them like, kind of all like come in, because I feel like Smitty is a long time like officer at the
Yeah.
station.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. He's just so interesting. I need a whole like backstory on Smitty. I
Yes,
need
we
I
do.
need a prequel or a spinoff or something.
Hmm.
So John gives him back the lawyer's number, and Smitty's like, you're in denial. And then gives John a hug, much to his liking. And I'm just like, that is the most awkward hug ever, but also
Yes.
Smitty. So yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And John's like, it's not over. And Tim says, great, sarcastically, and then clocks John on feeling like he's not believing it himself. And Tim's like, you know what helps me when I'm down or when I'm having a personal woe is some action. Pull some felony warrants, get into some trouble. And Tim's face and demeanor in this, like, totally changes. And I was like,
Hmm.
dude, the last thing he needs is this, is
Right.
this. And
Yeah.
like also, you should not be giving him that advice. Like,
Right.
please don't. John
Yes.
Nolan also never goes half-ass on anything. Like he
Nope.
goes full-fledged all the way in. So
Yep.
let's not give him this because
Goodness, no.
like it's
This-
Celina's last day as a rookie. Like, can we let her
Right.
breathe?
Right.
Please.
Yeah, the
So
boys
yeah.
were not saying anything productive in the locker room. It was
No.
just a bunch
No.
of dude talk.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
sent John on his way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So John and Celina are patrolling, and he's in one heck of a mood. Like he's the
Hmm.
definition of grumpy cop this episode.
Yeah,
He
and I
is
don't feel
grumpy
like
cop.
we've seen him grumpy before. Like this was a different John Nolan. I feel like
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely
it was
was.
weird,
Yeah.
weird vibe.
Um, and she was hoping to avoid situations that would affect her graduation because, yes, I mean, not that like you want to have an easy shift because being a
Hmm.
cop's not easy, but like,
Hmm.
yeah, try not to get into danger if you can help it.
Right.
Um, and he reiterates that as her TO for one last day, he sets the agenda. And I was like, dude, no. You literally look for trouble. You are a trouble magnet. And now you're going to put her into this.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He was taking Tim's advice like full on here. Like this
Yeah.
sounds like something like Tim would do. Like it's not over till
Yeah.
I say it's over type stuff.
Yeah. So Celina questions if this is so that he doesn't think about Bailey. And he's like, if it was, do you think it'd be a good idea to mention her name? And I'm like, you need to check your
Dude.
attitude at the door. Go
Yeah,
away. Like, go away.
really. Yeah. Hmm.
And then he's like, I want you to check and see who has warrants. I want them in a fighting mood. Get out. Get out right now.
Stop.
Like, because you know what? You know who's not going to be fighting them is your ass. You're not going to
Right.
be fighting them. It's
Right.
going to be Celina. It's going to be
Yep.
Tim. It's going to
Yep.
be literally any other cop that you call for backup. But you
Correct.
want them in a fighting mood because
Hmm.
you're not in a good mood. Like,
Right.
no. Oh
Yeah.
my God. When I was rewatching this, I had to pause so many times that it took me like twice as long to rewatch.
Oh my
Because I was
gosh.
like, I actually cannot do this right now. Like I actually can't. I don't let John Nolan bother me as much as
Yeah.
like other people don't like him. Like he's fine.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
just gets away with it. But
Yeah.
like this episode, I was like, no.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
can't do this. So,
Right.
yeah. So they can't find someone with a warrant, and John's getting annoyed because that's all that this man can think about. And Celina tries to be a little positive with it, and she's like, well, we have most of the bad guys in custody. Yay, us. And she like tries to high five him, and he just like looks at her. I'm like, no, just leave. Like, no.
Yeah. Would you think like John Nolan would be like all up for that? Like he would be like the
Mhm.
supportive, like, and the way that he's acting is just like, nah. Like,
Yeah.
like you said,
Yeah.
go home. Like,
Yeah. Like, check your attitude at the door or like have a day off, something.
right. Something.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. it was just not.
Mm-mm. Not
Yeah, it was
normal,
just
not
weird.
cool. Mm-hmm.
No. And so they get a call from dispatch about seeing a blue van, and they see a blue van in their line of sight. So they take the call and they pull over the blue van. They have the driver get out so that they can search it. And he has Celina go and clear the front when she shows interest in the driver. Again, he's like so bitter that like
Mm-hmm.
everyone else is having a good time, but he's not. And I'm like,
Right. Mm-hmm.
you like it's all about your attitude and like your mindset to
Yeah,
me. So the driver like puts the charm on her. He was just like flirty with everyone. He was a little
he
charmer.
was. Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I haven't moved in a while. Like I was waiting on a rescue and he can't provide ID. So John says that they have to view what's in the van. So Mickey flirts with Celina more, further just annoying John. And the van is filled with guns. And so out of nowhere, the hammer comes up. Like this man just walks up from behind him. I don't
I
know.
was
It's
gonna
weird.
say, yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
don't
so like he
remember.
picks Celina up and throws her over to John, which I mean like Lisette is tiny, so like especially compared to the hammer, so I'm sure like it wasn't hard.
Right.
And I
Yeah,
liked how
right.
they like fit it in. But I was
Yeah.
just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, this is the fight that John wanted. And look, his ass isn't getting picked up.
Right, right.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
oh.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So
Did you see behind the scenes of the way they did
yeah.
that fight? That was so cool. It
Yeah.
was just literally him picking her up, and then like they had two
Yeah.
mats, and they just went boom, like
Yep.
she just
Yeah.
landed face palm. That
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. And I liked just how they filmed it because it was you didn't see much. You just saw like her getting picked
Yes.
up and then the next thing you knew that they were both on the ground.
Right. Right.
Which I mean was for stunt doubles, but yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, as I was watching it, even the first time, but like more so the second time, I was like, so what happened to that fight that John wanted? Oh yeah, Celina was picked up and thrown.
Mm-hmm.
Like no, let John fight the hammer. If he wants to fight
Yeah.
so bad, go for it, dude. Go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Give us some comedy, because
Right.
remember that scene like so many seasons ago? Carrie and I like had a fit on the podcast about it, where they were like hobbling through the warehouse
Yes. Yes.
for like 15 minutes straight. Yeah, I mean that's the fight. Like, go for it.
I love it.
So Harpez walks up and gives everyone, including Gray, or like just gives Celina and John a briefing on the hammer and Mickey. And Gray comes and he's not happy that the shop and police issued weapons have been taken, which, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be either. That's a lot of equipment in there.
Yep.
And so he has no one remind him how many times the shop has been stolen, which is nice. I feel
Beautiful.
like this kind of stuff only happens when John is having like an off day like this.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, because you're off your game.
Yep.
Yeah.
He hasn't learned, and I don't know if he ever will.
No, I don't think so. But then John's like, I know how serious this is. And, and I'm like, where are your consequences though? This has happened twice already.
Yeah.
I don't think you've learned.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, he was like on the ground when they stole it. It's not like he was just standing there and was like, take
That's true. Right.
But yeah, still just, I mean, do better, dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, like, everything that's in the shop is only meant for police and criminals have it. So, like, what are the consequences that this man is facing? Because in this episode, there were none.
There were none.
And so Celina tries to speak up, saying that it wasn't entirely his fault. And I'm just like, Celina, I love you, but please do not fall. Like, do not take the fall for this man.
Right.
Please don't. He wanted the fight. You ended up like taking the brunt of it. He wanted some criminals with hot warrants, not you. Like this is not on you at all.
No.
Like, let this man go down for it. And so Harpez, John, and Celina are watching Mickey and the Hammer. And the shop is parked right next to the stolen weapons, which makes it easy, but also not, because if they start shooting all those weapons, just it's not gonna be good. So the last thing they want to do is get into a firefight. Well, Mickey takes his shirt off, and the ladies are like, oh, okay. And John is standing over there, once again, just bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Bitter, bitter, bitter.
Bitter.
And he's not wanting them to have a moment of this. Like he's even taking the binocular or like the whatever it was out of
Yeah.
their hand.
Right.
And Selena's like, "Can I just have one more?" And he's like, "No. No."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Dude,
She
stop,
didn't even get a
please."
peek.
No. And like also let them have their fun. Like,
Right.
please,
Yep.
please let them have
Mm-hmm.
their fun. I need my girls to have more fun than you at this point. Like, come on.
Slay. Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
So he suggests waiting until they separate and move in. And I loved how Celina was like, "So we'll take Mickey." And Harper's like, "No, boo, no." And Harpaz is like, "We're taking Mickey." And Angela's face over to Nyla, she's like, "Hell yeah, we are." Like,
Yeah, right.
yeah, I was like, all right, all right. I love it. These two are married, like, and having
Right.
committed, like, happy relationships. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So good.
So John and Celina have to take the hammer, which I'm like, okay, well, he's already like picked up Celina and like thrown her. So that's great.
Yeah, I didn't quite
He's
think
like
of
twice
that.
her size. He's like
Right.
twice her size. And John Nolan's gonna stand there and be like, "I'm not gonna fight." Like, no. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. But then the hammer's just kind of like, I'll come in. Like he just gives up. And so as they're booking the hammer, Celina says something about transiting Aries. And the hammer's like, "Yeah, the last time Mercury was in retrograde, my fiance left him." And John's like pessimistic about this too. Like this man just can't let anyone live this
Mm-mm.
episode.
No.
And I'm like, dude, it's not wanted. Just go, like, do something, please. Fix
Right.
yourself. So meanwhile, Harpez is getting ready to question Mickey, and all of these female cops are like, I feel like we've never seen as many female cops like in patrol uniforms as we did in this scene. And I was like,
Yes.
where are they all? Like all the time.
Right.
We had our like diva, like background actor that we've seen in
Mm-hmm.
like other scenes, but I was just kind of like, where have all of these
Oh,
girls
right.
been? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't
So
know either.
they're all like oohing and on watching the Mickey like through the window, and Gray comes in and he's like, go back to work, go back to work. Now that is the comedy and the
Mm-hmm.
fun that I like,
Yes.
not whatever John Nolan's got. So
Yes. Truth.
so he says that like, or no, so yeah, he reminds them that the Mickey can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And Mickey is like, "You guys need me. We were supposed to deliver those guns to the butcher. And, if you really want to bust him, or do you want to take down a big time shot caller?" And so we like cut over to Wesley, Gray, Angela, and Nyla. And Wesley is like, the Mickey is a snake and a charmer, but Angela says that he's telling the truth. And so Nyla shares the timeline, and Wesley's like, "All right, the DA can give reduced sentences if the LAPD can give full-time surveillance and arrest the butcher." And at this point, they see Tim and John like walking through the bullpen, and they volunteered Tim and John. They're like, "We know that
Mm-hmm.
John's home life is on the rocks, so like he's fine, he can help." And we
Right.
know another senior officer that's looking to like get away from, what's going on in his personal life. And so they have to take Mickey and the Hammer to a safe house and work overnight watching them, which
Yeah.
sounds like so much fun when you have John, who is bitter about like literally everything that's going on, and Tim, who's
Right.
just like stuck in his Chenford brain rot, and like that's all they have to think
Yes.
about. I'm like,
Right. I
yeah,
was gonna
these
say.
two are
Yeah.
totally fit to watch these two guys. Like,
Totally.
yeah, totally cool. So oh my gosh, I loved this next part. So Celina walks up to John with some paperwork that's been completed, and she's finished with her rookie training period. And so like he calls, yay, oh my gosh. I
Yay!
literally wanted to cry during this because I was like,
Yeah.
this is so good. So and
Yeah.
we haven't like seen this with any of the other rookies.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
yeah.
This was
So
different.
I thought that it was good that like it happened with Celina too, because I was like, I feel like
Yes.
she kind of needed that because
Yeah.
she did have a rough go of it, like in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning.
Definitely.
Um, so John calls everyone around and needs their attention. And Lucy and Seth come in, Harper and Lopez and Gray and Wesley all come out of the office, and everyone applauds, and for Celina finishing her training. And I loved seeing like Miles and Lucy cheering her on, like, kind of just
Mm-hmm.
making more of an effort than just clapping.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like a proud little friend, like watching
I
her, and
know. Yeah, me
it's just fun.
too. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
yay, you did it.
Yeah. So, and I feel like Celina's little scrunched face and the woo thing with her arm was like a Lisette thing. Like
Hmm.
not really scripted for Celina, but like definitely a
Right.
Lisette thing. So,
Absolutely.
so we go like later into the night, and Tim and John are guarding the Mickey and the Hammer. And they leave the room to talk, and Tim asks if him and Bailey are still not talking. And Mickey and the Hammer intrude, and they're like, "Oh, we've got some like cops, that are like down on their luck or whatever." And Nolan's just looking at them, and you can tell that he wants to engage, but Tim reminds him that he shouldn't.
Right.
And Tim asks the Hammer about his engagement, and I'm like, "What are we doing? Like buddying
Right.
up with the criminals?
Right.
Like, okay, this is
Yeah.
weird."
It's
But
very
also
weird.
like the episode was a little weird, so it's
It
fine.
was. Yeah.
So the Hammer mentions that him and like he was like, "Yeah, my engagement broke up." And he was like, "Yeah, but you and the lady cop won the ring off of me and everything fell apart." And John's just standing over there like confused.
Hmm.
Like he's like the gif of the lady with like all the math like going on behind her
Yes.
or in front of her.
Yes. Right.
That was Tim.
Yep.
And so that was John. So Tim
John.
tells
Yeah.
him about Randy pawning off Bailey's wedding ring, and him and Lucy got it back.
Hmm.
And I was like, did John just like never know about that?
I guess not. Not until now.
Like no one ever told him? I don't know. But also like that ring is a little cursed to then.
Yes.
So yeah.
I think they're just one
So
giant curse, though. They
yeah,
keep
because
finding they keep getting in trouble.
yeah. But like as Carrie said before, like they can't have a normal date to save their
No,
life.
they
Like,
can't.
yeah, maybe they are cursed. I don't know.
Hmm.
So, as the perimeter of the house has been secured, the Hammer and Mickey seem like they're sleeping on the couch, and John offers to take the first shift so Tim can get some sleep. But Tim's like, I don't sleep when I'm on shift, which, yeah, I mean, but I don't know if you're, I don't know. Tim's got his own little ways. So
He
we have
does.
another little Brolin moment, and John asks Tim if he can ask him a personal question. And Tim's like, normally I'd say no, but I'm trying to be more emotionally available. So what's up? And John's like, how did you know it was over with Isabel? I like how he doesn't even bring up Lucy. Well, I mean, yeah, because it was like kind of different then. But
Hmm.
Tim's like, you got to try and fix it before you can know that it's over. And
Hmm.
so, like, kind of, I don't know how much longer into the night, but Tim's like laying down on the bed. So John's got the first shift, and he gets a call from Lucy who needs his help. And so he tells John that like he's got to go, he'll get back up and he's got to go help Lucy. And John's like, yeah, I'll go too. And let's get two backup replacement officers. I'm like, you were both selected to do this. And no,
Right.
John, you stay back.
Right.
You stay back.
Yeah.
Let Tim take care of this. Like, you don't
That was
need to
very weird.
go. There's
Yeah.
there's absolutely no reason.
Right. Yeah.
So it was just weird. It was almost like John was trying to be like, "Oh, I want to like follow along. I want to be like tagging
Yeah.
along and on this." I'm like,
Hmm.
"No, just
No.
stay."
Right.
So Mickey is in the bathroom, apparently taking a while, and Tim's like, "I'll move him along because I gotta go."
Hmm.
And Tim gets hit in the head from behind with a towel bar. And the Hammer wakes up, and Tim and Mickey come back in with Tim being held at gunpoint. I'm like, again, John Nolan is not in danger here. Not that like he was supposed like he didn't like rope them into this, but I was
Hmm.
like, all right, this man just keeps coming out unscathed in this
Hmm.
episode.
It's also
So
very rare for Tim to ever be like on the opposing side. Like you
yes,
always see Tim winning, and to
yeah,
have him just like be
like
hit
he had
right
his guard
away.
down.
Right,
Yeah,
right. That's very not character like.
yeah. Like I would expect him more from like John Nolan
Right,
because like he's been known to like get off, like be caught
right.
off guard and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So Mickey wants the Hammer to do one thing, and the Hammer's remembering the deal with the police, and he's like, "Nope, I'm signing with them." And Tim and the Hammer take out Mickey. And Mickey's like, man, I can't believe you just turned on me like that. I don't like Mickey was fine, but I was just kind of like, all right, I'm over him because he's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, he's just there.
Hmm.
So, I mean, like later in the episode, Harper and Lopez and then Brolin meet at the station the next day and banter back and forth. And they're like, thanks for the wake up call in the middle of the night. And the butcher's guys are in the interrogation, ready and waiting to be flipped to get an arrest warrant for the butcher.
Hmm.
And I was just kind of like, all right, are we gonna meet the butcher? Because like they put a name to him, which like they had to like make it work, but
Sure.
I feel like it's more of a bigger case than like that's
Hmm.
it, you know?
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't know. John just was annoying this
He
episode.
was. Yeah.
It was very much kind of giving like season one John Nolan. Season one, season
Hmm.
two, like
Yeah.
let me be a little righteous here. Let me like make it
Hmm.
about me.
Right.
So yeah. Yeah. But we'll go over to Chenford now because I mean, why not? There
Yay.
wasn't like much there wasn't any Chenford scenes really besides for the phone call,
Hmm.
but like that's okay. After last episode, like they kind of need their space to let both of their stories grow so that they can come back
Hmm.
together.
Hmm.
So we open the episode with Tim in a veteran support group, and he's talking about the Chenford hookup while also having flashbacks of the hookup. And I liked how, like people were tweeting, they were like, he's sitting there having flashbacks about like him getting like him hooking up with Lucy, and
Hmm.
these other people are having like actual war flashbacks. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, well, I mean that
Craziness.
is his war flashback in a way. So,
Yeah.
um, and I'm kind of intrigued as to why he was at a support group, like talking about like Lucy and stuff. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like that's more like what you would just talk to like a therapist, like one on one with.
Sure. Yeah.
But it makes sense, like with what he went through with Blair, to where like he's kind of starting with a support group and like getting back into it.
Hmm.
But yeah, so he's talking about like how he feels and how he earned his like he feels like he really earned his way back in with her, both on a personal and professional level. And then the gala happened. And like the group leader therapist clocks him on it and she's like, you're using a lot of I language and why are you taking away her agency? And which I mean is very valid. Like he was kind of
Hmm.
just taking away the fact that like she also made the decision
Yeah.
because the therapist is like, if it was a mistake, then it's one that you both made together. Like
Sure.
she was also the one who decided it. Like she initiated the
Right.
kiss, you know.
Hmm.
Um, you can't just be like, "Oh, well, I did all of this." No, she had a part in it too.
Hmm.
So, we cut over to Lucy doing her makeup and she's having flashbacks of the hookup too. And I like how she like goes over to the other mirror to like focus better is what it seemed
Yeah.
like and she still had that flashback. And I was
Right.
like,
Right.
that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so then Celina comes running into the bathroom all excited because it's her last day as a rookie. And one, I just love it because I was like, I feel like that's very much Melissa and Lisette, like on set.
Yes.
Like they're just like
Hmm.
sunshiny people.
Right.
And Lucy looks over at her and she's got like a big like lipstick line and
Yeah.
and Selena's like, ooh, sorry. Which would be me too, because
Yeah.
I would jump. Yeah. And so, but at least she was doing her lipstick and not like her mascara because that
Right.
would
Oh,
hurt.
gee.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, Lucy tells her that a high percentage of rookies suffer setback on their last day and she just has to be on her game and don't get distracted. Um, and Selena's like, that's a new lipstick color you're wearing. And you look a little bit more made up than usual. What's going on? And
Hmm.
Lucy's like, all right, don't get distracted now. Like, this is not what you need to be getting distracted about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we see the new rookies walking into the locker room talking about what's been going on, Miles and Camilla and Seth's cancer. Um, and Tim walks up to them because, why not? Like, this
Hmm.
man just, he kind of gave Nolan that advice. And now he's like, let me just go and not pick on Seth, but let me, go kind of put the fear of Bradford in him. And so he asks Seth if he's ready, if he's sure he's ready to be there. And Seth's like, yes, I'm sure. Like, I'm feeling fine. And Tim's like, if you're not up to the task, you're putting the life of your TO in jeopardy. And Tim is so loud with protecting Lucy, and it's so good.
I was
So
like,
good.
why didn't like the rookies like look at each other and be like, is he okay? Like
Yeah.
the wheels weren't turning, nothing was going
Yeah.
on. Like
Yeah.
I think that was
Because
like a
like
pretty obvious
yeah, it was.
because
Well,
he
and
was
like his
totally like
demeanor.
peeing, like he was marking his territory. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and his demeanor, like it was typical T.O. Bradford, but like it
mm-hmm.
was different too in a way.
Yes.
It was very much giving like your TO and I are like close and personal, like don't
Right.
get her hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that's leading me to wanting more, just more feral Tim for Lucy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like we need it at this point. Like we need her
Yes, we
in
do.
danger of some kind,
Yep.
and him just like moving mountains to save his girl. Like just give it to me.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want her
Yes.
in danger, but like
No,
I also do
I
because
do.
give me
Mm-hmm.
that because it
Yes,
provides good content.
it
So,
does. I'm still in my Chenford era.
hmm
We're still
oh
there.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
never
I'm in
not
the
gonna leave.
yeah, I'm in the brain rot era. Like that,
Mm.
just all of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Lucy and Seth are patrolling, and she's asking him how he's feeling. She's researched his cancer. I mean, which is a very Lucy thing, but yeah, I mean, definitely as his TO, like with
Mm-hmm.
as a TO who has a rookie with cancer, like yes, you do need to know that.
Yeah.
Um, and so she asks about a side effect, like a very specific one, and he's like, you know, he says, "Oh, wow, not a lot of people like know about that one." And she's like, "Well, I've done my homework." And then when he adds, "or to catch me in a lie," I'm like, "All right, why did you add that?"
I know. I was just kind of like, well, here we go again. Like
Yeah,
going through this loop again.
because if it wasn't a lie, you wouldn't say that. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. Yeah.
unless
No.
he just thinks like she just thinks that he's lying about everything. Like I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I thought he meant. Like, because everything pretty much up to that point has been a lie.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that uncomfortable feeling that I did a couple weeks ago. I was like,
Hmm.
really?
Yeah. So then, I mean, she even kind of builds off that, and she's like,
hmm
"Well, I would hope you wouldn't lie about that. I hope that he doesn't lie about that either." That's,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
it's a
And so he's
very
like,
yeah.
"If you have any doubts, you can check my medical records. Like, I signed away my medical privacy when I joined." And she still seems skeptical, and she's like, "I might just have to do that." He just seems sus. Like he is sus.
He is.
Yeah. I was
hmm
talking to my coworker who watches the show and listens to the podcast. Shout out to Jen. Um,
Hey,
and she was like, "Yeah, he's a liar, liar, pants on fire." And I was
he
like, "Oh, like he
is.
is. He really
Yeah.
is." And it's to the point where it's making it hard to like him. Like I've seen a lot of people be
hmm
like, "I don't like him because of
Yeah.
this." Like
Right.
yeah, I don't know. And he's such like the actor himself. If you follow him on social media, he is like he's the male version of Lisette. Just like sunshine,
Right.
like
Yes.
happiness. And he's
hmm
just so excited to be on the show.
Right.
So then to have his character be like this, like, I don't know, it doesn't taint it, but it's just kind of like
hmm
it's hard, you
It's
know?
hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
hard.
So
Mm.
then Tamara calls and she's in Lucy's apartment, which, hey, Tamara, we've missed you. Oh,
Right?
I like, she looked so good. And I was
She
so excited to get her
did.
back. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It was very fun.
Also, like, where's Rachel? Because, like, there's not an extra pillow on that couch,
You are
there's not a
right.
blanket, nothing. Like,
Yeah.
where is
Nothing.
Rachel? We have not heard about her. Well, I guess we did last episode, but like, where is she? I mean,
Yeah. She poof.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and like you would think like, okay, they were celebrating later by the couch. You would think that there's like an extra blanket there or a
Yeah. Or she'd
pillow
be
or
there.
like her bags or something.
Something.
No trace of her
Mm-mm.
whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
Whatsoever.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, so Tamara's like, I need to show you something. So Lucy changes their route and goes home. And the Tamara picture on her phone is so cute. It's so cute. Like her
Mm-hmm.
little call icon. And Seth, I caught this on my second rewatch, but when she calls, he like looks over and he's like, "Oh, who's that?" Immediate hard eyes. I was like, "You need to calm down. Calm down. Calm down. You don't even know the Lucy and Tamara lore. You can't just like get hard eyes for her and
Yeah.
you don't know. Like, no. They're like best friends. Like Tamara lived with Lucy. No. And
Right.
Lucy's your TO who also does not trust you. So you need to just back up.
That went
Back
over
up.
his head. Like he
Yeah.
did not care.
No. 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 Which I mean goes back to like the behind the scenes that Patrick shared. I don't know if it was last week or like the week before or something. When Rachel came, Patrick
Mm,
was like, I don't know if you guys knew, but like this was unscripted. Like we did like 5 different takes of this, and
mm.
this one was the one that stuck. And Patrick is just a little cinnamon roll there. He's just
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, like I don't really know what to do, but she's cute. Like, and I feel like that was more so Patrick, like,
Yeah.
kind of unscripted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, they are this like around the same age. It could work.
Right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Lucy and Seth walk into the apartment to find Tamara, looking at her old room, and Seth is just like, I'm happy to be here. Like, let me help in any way. I'm like, sit down. Go sit down.
Yeah.
Please.
Stop.
Sit down on the couch and wait
Right.
there like a puppy waiting
Right.
for their owner to return. Like,
Yes. Please.
please. You just need to like sit this one out, dude.
Yeah.
You are a
Mm-hmm.
rookie and you clearly are young and like driven by hormones. Please just sit down.
Well, you know what they say about guys? Like they will drop everything if they have like
Yeah.
an actual feelings for you. They will drop everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Everything else will just leave. And
Yeah.
then you're just like,
Well, and for
yes.
Seth that happened this episode.
Yes.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Whoo!
Yeah.
Boy needs to calm down.
That man was down bad. Down bad. Down bad crying at the gym.
At the gym. Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So Tamara shows them the pills that she got on campus. And I loved how Lucy was like, "Are you worried about cavities?" And she's like, "No, these are Xanax with the ketamine. Like, I have not tried them." And she's like, "My roommate's boyfriend gave them to me, offers to make it like she's like, I can make an introduction. We'll just need someone to go undercover and who's a believable buyer." I love how she is like Little Miss Cop in training.
Mm-hmm.
Like she knows what
Yeah.
all has to be done. Like even
Mm-hmm.
when Seth was taken later on, she's like, "Let me get a picture of the plate." Like
Yeah.
Lucy has trained her and ingrained it in her brain so well.
Oh yeah.
So, so Lucy already knows Seth will offer to do it, and she's like, "No, you cannot do this."
Right.
And I'm like, "Yes,
Yes.
get him." Yeah. And she's like, it's got to be someone who's not a rookie. And so she offers to do it. But I loved how Tamara was like, yeah, no, no.
Sorry. She was just
And
like, we need somebody that looks like a college
yeah.
person.
And Lucy's like, okay, rude. And I'm like,
right.
no, but I mean, yeah.
But also,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
you probably could have gotten Celina to do it.
Yeah,
Because
that's
like I feel
true.
like she could pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Lucy, no, no.
Mhm.
Love her to death, but no.
No.
But I also kind of liked how like it was Seth who wanted to do it. Like he
He
was like,
did.
yeah, let me go undercover. And
Mhm.
like if anyone knows how to go undercover, I mean, besides Nyla, like it's Lucy. Lucy's done
Right.
it. Like, you know,
Right.
she could actually kind of mentor him into it.
I know.
So,
That's what I was
you know.
thinking. Hmm.
But then again, he is a rookie and like he's literally, I mean, if we're going in week for him, he's like 7 weeks into his training.
Hmm.
Like, dude, calm down. You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
get that you want to prove yourself and you want to like, show that you're not a lying liar who lies, but
Hmm.
you gotta like chill a minute.
Yeah.
But then he's like, I even get carded at movie theaters. What movie theaters are you going to? Like, which ones? I don't know.
I don't know, but I get carded all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I know. I actually offer. I'm like, here, do you want to see my ID? I'm like,
Mm.
this is weird. I don't know. I don't know.
It's the baby
So
face.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So Tamara puts her arm through his, and she's like, I'll introduce him as my boyfriend who goes to UCLA. And Lucy's so unsure about this,
Yeah.
doesn't like it, but she ends up going along with it. She calls Gray to tell him about the undercover plan because he's like, why are you at your apartment? And
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, like he would know, like he would get a notification.
Hmm.
And so Gray questions her if Ridley is ready, and Lucy's unsure, but she's confident enough.
Hmm.
And she's like, it should be a simple operation. Like it's like cash, buy drugs, walk away. Like
Right.
no big deal. So she's like hoping for Harper and Lopez to back her up because they're busy. And so Gray's like, it's Smitty or it's no one. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, I mean, Smitty will be fine. Like
Right.
it's gonna be simple. Like you're hoping that there's not a whole lot that goes on.
Yeah.
So Lucy and Smitty are in the car with Tamara and Seth, and our friend M tweeted that it's giving We're the Millers, the movie. And I'm like, it so is.
It
It
so
so
is. You're
is.
right.
Like it
Shoot, that's
so
funny.
is. Just kind of like the mismatched family and like
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
I
And it's
love it.
also like one of my favorite movies. So I cracked up when I saw that. I was like, no, like it really is. Because he's eating the Twizzler or the red vine, and she's
Hmm.
just like a little unsure of this. And you've got the two in the back who are just like, okay, like this is happening, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah, it was just so good. So Lucy reiterates that it's a simple buy walk deal. Like buy the drugs, walk away. That's it. And she
Hmm.
like keeps just saying those four words.
Yep.
And so they need to get the buy on the wire and they'll go back for the rest. Like, that's it. And Smitty
Hmm.
tries to add details of like everything that they need. And Lucy's like, no, no. Like he is new. We're
Hmm.
not pressuring him to make this like a huge thing.
Right.
So Seth and Tamara get out and they walk, like they're fine. And Lucy nervously watches while Smitty's eating like licorice of some kind.
Hmm.
Classic Smitty.
Yep. We're going back to
And
our we need the Smitty like
yeah, yeah.
episodes. We need his own
Yeah,
spinoff. Yep.
because he just divulges more personal information
It's
during all of
great.
this during the
Hmm.
scene.
Yep.
So, like they're listening in and Seth's like, yeah, Tam's been bugging me to come here or whatever. And Lucy does not like the nickname Tam.
No.
And Smitty's like, I think it's cute. I'm like, I gotta agree with Lucy on this one. I don't really, but like he's gotta work it, like he's gotta sell it, you know?
Right.
He can't
Right.
just be like, yeah, this girl like wants me to come here. I don't really know.
Right.
You
Yeah. No,
gotta
I
you gotta
he did a
make
good
it.
job selling it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I honestly couldn't really tell that he was a rookie doing this undercover because
I
he
couldn't
just
either.
felt good at it. But
Right.
also it's because he's a lying liar who lies. Like he lies all the
That's
time.
true.
So this isn't hard for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So Seth like keeps hinting that they're together, and Lucy's like, "We get it, like and
Hmm.
Smitty sticks up for him, which I feel like we need more
Smith.
Seth and Smitty scenes.
You made a couple
That's their partnership name.
name. Let's
Yep,
go.
yep. I'm collecting those like Infinity Stones this season. Like I am, I am. The four that I came up with a few weeks ago. Yeah,
Mhm.
great. Um.
So
Add
good.
this one to my bank. So, yeah, no, we definitely need more Seth and Smitty scenes because I feel
Hmm.
like they just kind of give like almost like a father-son dynamic. Like,
Hmm.
like he looks up to Smitty, but then Smitty's like, I got a lot to teach you here.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. So Seth like keeps hinting that they're together and, Smitty's like he's just selling it or he's into her. Either way, what's the problem? And Lucy, you can tell she wants to get into it. And he's
Hmm.
just talking about how parenting is hard and tells her that at some point you have to let the kids spread their wings and make their own mistakes. And Lucy's like, wait, do you have kids? And he's like, he doesn't say anything. He just takes a bite of his licorice. She's like, do I? And I'm like, no, do you? Like, because I need to meet them. I want to see who they
I do
are.
too.
Like,
Yeah.
At this point, give me an entire Smitty episode. Just
We
Smitty.
do. We need an
Just Smitty all
entire
the time.
Smitty episode. Yep. We need to know the
So-
backstory.
Yeah. So Smitty gets the drug, or not Smitty. Oh my.
I love
Seth gets
it.
the drugs and exchanges the money. And instead of walking away like he should, I mean, even Lucy's like, all right, walk. Like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
He asks if there's a possibility to get more for a friend. And even Tamara's just kind of like, dude, what are you doing?
Mhm.
And you can see Seth is just kind of like, I'm just trying something here and I hope that it doesn't backfire on me.
Right. Yeah.
So they get back to the car and Smitty gives him an attaboy, like literally giving him a high five. He's like, great job. You opened the door for a bigger bust. And Lucy's like, I'm not happy with this. And, you know, like, yes, Seth can play this thing well until he gets himself into trouble. Like, he can play it well because he lies all the time,
Mhm.
but like, he also doesn't know when to stop.
Yeah.
So that's when that gets him into trouble.
Mhm.
So in the middle of the episode, Lucy and Celina are celebrating the end of her rookie period. And again, like, where's Rachel? Like, it's weird.
Yes.
It's very
She's
weird.
disappeared. Mhm.
Yeah. So Lucy gets a Clip Talk notification with a post from Tamara that has a picture of her and Seth. And like the caption's like, cuties being cute or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
And they're on a date. And even Celina's kind of shipping them. And when Lucy kind of gives her a look, Celina's like, oh, we don't like this.
Right. She's like, just kidding.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, they could just be hanging out. But like, yeah, it was like the caption was kind of giving like date vibes.
Mhm.
But they're diving into a dish of ice cream at the food truck that I think Chenford was just at a couple episodes ago. So I was like, oh, okay. All right. Can we make this a regular place?
Yes.
Well, then Andy walks up and takes Seth to meet his boss, Hobby. And Seth's like, Tamara's like, no, you can't take him. Like, we're eating ice cream. And they were like, well, then you come with. I would like to know where Tamara would have fit in that car because it looks like they were packed in there.
Yeah.
You know, like, if Tamara was like, okay, bet, like, I'll go.
Right.
Where would she have sat? Like,
I have no idea.
I don't know. So, he leaves Tamara with the ice cream. She takes a picture of the license plate and calls Lucy. And Lucy's like, because Tamara's like, no, this can't go wrong, right?
Mhm.
And Lucy's like, no, he has his police ID and his off-duty weapon on him. Like, if they search him, it's over, you know? So we go over to the car. And Seth is in the middle and he's just looking nervous. Like he's doing kind of like the nervous smile, like,
yeah,
what did I get myself into?
Right.
Which, yeah, I'm kind of wondering the same thing, dude. So
we all are.
yeah. And also like simultaneously hoping that Lucy like does not kill you after this because this is her job on the line too, you know?
Yep.
So Lucy calls Tim for help. I love how like he's the first one she's calling. Like, that's her default.
It will never not be Tim. I swear.
Yeah.
It'll always be Tim.
And like, he's really the only one, I mean, besides Celina and Waze, that knows that Seth is like a problem child in a way. You know, like
that's
it's
a
not
good
like
point.
Nolan knows, it's not like Nyla knows nothing. Like it's really only Tim. And so he's like, I'll get back up to come here and I'll help you. Well, Celina and Lucy are only able to track a license plate. So they pull up Javi's sheet and he's got a history of importing and pressing Xanax. And he served time for possession of unlicensed prescription equipment. He's a career criminal. So like he's definitely going to search Seth when he arrives.
Right.
And so Lucy calls for backup because like Tim, like he just never gets there, I'm assuming. And so Andy like pulls up to a police checkpoint and Officer Nickerson sees Seth in the car. I mean, he just like puts eyes on him. And when asked for a license and registration, the pills fall out of the glove box. Like, I guess out of an open package. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like the bag was open and it just kind of just exploded. Yeah.
Yeah. So they all have to get out of the vehicle and everyone's taken into custody. And Officer Nickerson like takes Seth, puts him in a car, and Seth like keeps going. He's like, my dad's gonna kill me. Like he has to play
Yeah.
it up.
Hmm.
Um, so Lucy's sitting in the front seat. I mean, obviously not happy at all.
Mm-mm.
And she's like, "Do you think you can like uncuff me?" And she's like, "I don't have the key." And she kind of says it like with a like smirk on her face, and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
don't uncuff him. Like
No.
he can
Mm-mm.
sit here in these cuffs for a little bit."
Hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like it was like ironic in a way that they like had the like graded wall like in between them, and that they're
Yes.
sitting like that, and she's like looking at him like I don't know.
Right.
It obviously needed to be done to play into the undercover
Right.
side. But
Hmm.
it seemed ironic with all the lying and trouble that he's gotten into that it was like
Hmm. Hmm.
he's in big trouble now. And she's like, "What
Right.
am I gonna do with you?" You know?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so at the end of the episode, Tamara asks how Seth is, and Lucy's like, "I don't want you and Seth to like hang out." And Tamara's not happy with that, telling her like it's not her choice. And instead of like really telling Tamara like what's going on, because I mean
Right.
they're at the station, like it's not the right spot
Right.
for that.
No.
She's like, he's not who you think he is, and he's just not good for her. And then
Hmm.
Tim walks in, and I'm like, this is like so parent child, like so
It
family coded,
is.
you know?
Yeah.
Like
So, yeah.
so like, hey, she's, be like she's punishing me. You're the good guy, like step in right now.
Hmm.
And so he asks what that was about because Tamara walks out and Tim's like, "Do you want me to put the fear of Bradford into Seth?" Again, just like so like protective boyfriend coded.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I feel like he's kind of already put the fear of Bradford in him
Hmm.
in earlier in the
Yeah.
episode. So the fact that he was like, "Do you want me to put the fear?" I was like, "It's already there."
Yeah.
Like he's
And
just a kid. He's such a
yeah.
just a little kid. Yeah.
Yeah. And also like even not even in this episode, but I feel like in other ones too, like he's anytime is around him, he
Hmm.
gets like nervous and he kind of
Oh
like
yeah.
jumps back and stuff. Like I feel like Seth is
Hmm.
already afraid of Tim.
Oh yeah.
So what more could he put into the fear? Like I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
But I'm also just kind of like, yeah, Tim, maybe you need to. Like I don't know, this kid just doesn't seem to learn the lesson.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it for the Chenford of it all with
Hmm.
Seth and all that.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm interested to see if it's brought up again next week. Like if Seth says something about like tomorrow or,
Hmm.
like they're on shift or something and Seth's like, "Oh yeah, like tomorrow sent me this picture or whatever." And if
Yeah.
Lucy then talks to Seth about it and is like, "You should not be hanging out with Tamara."
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to tell Tamara that, but like, I wonder how Seth would take it, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Very interesting.
yeah, yeah. So next we have Bailey and her new friend, and then the shelter call and Miles. So, which I think people before the episode were thinking that Bailey and Miles were gonna get like become friends in this, and I was like, wouldn't she
Oh.
like already know him? I don't know. We
Yeah.
haven't
I
seen
don't
like
know.
much of her with everyone else this
No.
season.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, she's been busy and she was not there for
Yes.
3 episodes.
Right.
So Bailey is talking to her partner and says that the ball is in John's court and he knows where to find her when she wants to talk. And I'm like, you're both being stubborn about this. Like, just talk.
Yeah.
Talk.
Yeah. Really.
So her partner doesn't really know what's been going on. And she's like, it's been a week, but you've been pretty vague about it, and it might be time to reach out. So they get a call at 10:99, and we go back and forth between them and Miles and Tim. And it's a Varda alarm, which bypasses dispatch to alert all units, shelters, and clinics and have them speed up response times for break-ins and assaults. So Miles looks up the address and it's a women's shelter. So Tim radios it in and Miles is like, "Punch it, like we got to get there."
Mhm.
You can already see that it is hitting a spot within Miles, this
Oh yeah.
call.
Yeah.
Like it's more,
Hmm.
and he explains it later, and he says it's just like a previous call back home was similar to this. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, there's more to it.
There's
There's more
more.
to it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I feel like it's not just the football stuff that got him out of Texas, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So Aid and police roll up and Bailey like doesn't even hesitate. Like, okay, John was looking for danger in this episode, but so was Bailey. But I
Yep.
mean, someone had to do it. Like this guy was taking her down. But then again, you got Tim
Mm-hmm.
and Miles standing there like, well, we're police, like we should technically be doing that, but okay.
Right.
And so Bailey takes the disgruntled husband down from Diana. I mean, the guy did like throw the bat towards Miles and Tim, so like they were
Right.
a little shook up, but
Right.
um so while they're still at the call, Miles is taking the disgruntled husband to their shop and he threatens the husband. And then Tim's like, "Do you want him to like file a
Mm-hmm.
complaint against the city?" And so that's where Miles tells Tim about the call in Texas, his first year on the job, and like he didn't get there in time, and the suspect then killed the kids. Um, and so Tim empathizes and he says calls like that are hard for everyone, but crossing the line gives guys like that a get out of jail free card. And he knows Miles doesn't want that. Um, and I mean, I'm sure that the call like messed with Tim too a little bit, like knowing
Mm-hmm.
who his dad was and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you
Sure.
can't just go off like that.
No.
So Miles like pushes everything down and he's like, I'll do better at controlling my emotions in the future. And he walks away. And again, like when he walks away, you can see his expression
Hmm.
and you just know that there's something way deeper to all of this.
Yeah.
So yeah. So as Bailey's tending to Diana, they share the same interest, leading this woman to feel like there's more with Bailey than what's on the surface. And maybe with this call and like whatever is in Miles's past, like and Bailey, like they do form a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because Bailey then stops by the hospital and checks on Diana, who was hoping to see Bailey again. And Bailey's like, yeah, I was thinking about our conversation and, tells her that she had a tough past. And Diana's like, yeah, I could kind of tell.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so Bailey tells her about Jason and how she's been finding ways to protect herself for years and it's not really working, leading her, I think, to do all of those different jobs and hobbies that she has.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so Bailey's had a hard time labeling what he put her through as abuse. And she's like, no one knew that I needed rescuing. And, so I had to rescue myself, but it didn't even matter in the end. And so
Mm-hmm.
Bailey says that if her and John don't work out, then Jason wins. And Diana's like, no, you won. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
gone. You can talk about what it was like for real, gray areas included, especially to John.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, if John can't help her heal, then, he can't help her heal if he doesn't know what's still alive inside of her, which is
Yes.
true. I mean, like, you have
Very
to be
true.
able to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, like, after Bailey's gone, Miles then visits with Diana in the hospital. And he offers to provide security for the shelter or the downtown women's center in his off-duty time. He's like, I don't want to see another woman get hurt. And I love hearing this from him, but then again, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, no, this is more. Also, like, as a rookie, can you do this?
I was
Like,
wondering the same thing. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's moonlighting, like on your off time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like
Right.
it's your personal time. It's fine. But also, like, you could be opening yourself up for potential lawsuits, like whatever may
Oh
come from
yeah.
it if you do meet another disgruntled husband. Like, I don't know, I just
Right.
feel like it's not a good, maybe like tell Gray and then he could like put more units there. But I was
Yeah.
like, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like as a rookie and you're new to LA, like, I don't think as nice of a move as this was, I don't know if that was the best way to go about it.
Sure. Yeah. I didn't really think about that until you said something. Um,
I
but
don't know, I
yeah.
just feel like he could like get in trouble for it in some
Yeah,
way.
maybe. And maybe he will. And maybe we'll
And
see
I was
more.
trying to think, did Jackson do something like this?
Oh.
Or was it Aaron? I feel like it was one of them
Oh.
where it was like, here's my card, like if you ever
Mm-hmm.
need anything. And I feel like
Yeah.
Jackson did, because I feel like I remember Gray like hazing
Yeah.
him for it.
Something like that. I'm vaguely remembering this too. I just don't remember which one.
I feel like it was definitely different than this, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But going back
yeah.
to I'm kind of wondering if because he makes it very clear that he doesn't want to see another woman get hurt. I'm
Mhm.
kind of wondering if it's maybe his mom. I don't know.
Oh,
It's a thought,
okay.
or maybe like an older sister of some sort, somebody that he's really close to. Like
Yeah.
he saw this as a kid, and maybe this is
Yeah.
partially why he went to be a cop a little bit. I mean, like, yeah, we
Yeah.
have the whole football thing, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Just a thought.
Huh. I never even really like put a person with it. I was just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, like, he's had it happen in the past. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because we don't really know anything else besides his personal life or like from his personal life besides Camilla.
Right.
So like, yeah, it could be his mom or his
Mm-hmm.
sister or yeah, like an aunt or something. I don't think it would
Mm-mm.
just be a girlfriend and it would be hitting him this hard.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. Huh. I never
Mm-hmm.
even thought about that. So, yeah, so at the end of the episode, John walks into the house to see Bailey sitting at the table, and she's ready to talk. I'm like, thank God, someone's like growing up and doing this.
Right.
Come on.
Jeez
Come
Louise.
on.
Come on.
So she starts off by saying that there's a lot she never told him about her and Jason, not because she wanted to keep secrets, but because she was in denial about her experiences. Okay, fair. Like, I'm sure that that's
Mm-hmm.
something that you don't want to face. And so you're just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, it's happening, but like, it's, like I'm not being like physically hurt by it. So,
Right.
okay. But also, like, yeah, I mean, you do kind of need to tell John, one, because he's your
Mm-hmm.
husband, and two,
Right.
he can help. Like he can help you find ways to heal from this and like
Mm-hmm.
talk to people about it. Like he can protect you a little bit more. But I also, I mean, even when they had the marshals and stuff at the house, like
Mm-hmm.
Bailey is very much someone who has protected herself like her
Mm-hmm.
entire adult life. Like she
Yeah.
does not need someone who's like constantly watching over her, making
Mm-hmm.
sure that like she, got everything. Like
Right.
that's almost like that's smothering her in a way because she's
Sure.
had to protect herself so much. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
also like, yes, but let him help you. Like let him
Right.
protect you because there's other ways that he can protect you and not
Right.
just, making sure that like you're safe and sound.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so she says for years she only acknowledged the emotional abuse that Jason put her through, but when he escalated to framing, stalking, and trying to kill her, she escalated that too. And she's like, Malvado was a desperate move for safety and she was scared and it broke her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and you felt judged and I shouldn't have made you feel judged. And so they had a talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
but then like they just kind of hugged at the end and I was like, so where are we going from here? Like, are they
Yeah.
fine? Are they not? Like, are they
Sure.
gonna go and talk to someone? Like, they need
Mm-hmm.
some counseling. They need
Yeah.
counseling both individually and together because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like this is much bigger than them just talking about it themselves.
Right. That's
So,
fair. Mm-hmm.
and I saw a lot of people kind of talking about like the consequences. Like everyone else has
Mm-hmm.
consequences for their actions. Wesley lost his license and like Lucy,
Mm-hmm.
didn't get promoted and Tim lost Metro and Lucy like but John and Bailey, they got nothing. Like, but
Right.
I think it might be coming. And
I was
that's
gonna
not me
say.
trying to like stick up for them, but I think it's just coming. Like I feel like it's kind of
Yes.
how people feel with Chenford. Like, oh, there's no Chenford movement.
Right.
No, it's coming. I think we just have to get
Yeah.
there. Like it's an
Yeah.
ensemble show.
Right.
But I'm curious to know what their punishment would be because like we've
Absolutely.
seen John like kind of get pushed for his rookie period.
Mm-hmm.
Nyla got a formal reprimand. Like,
Right.
people have lost things that have mattered to them. So
Right.
does what does this do? Because Bailey's
Yeah.
not a cop. So like
Mm-hmm.
what kind of punishment does she get? And John, yes, he's an accomplice to it, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, like he did not like I don't know. It's there's a gray area with all of this. There is.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And yeah, I think you're right. I think it is coming, whatever consequence. Because I also think that we're not done with Malvado.
Yeah,
Because
no, he's coming
that,
back, I feel like.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that, yeah, you just kind of feel like after that last, or whenever we saw him a couple episodes ago,
Hmm.
it just didn't feel like that was the end. Like we're
Yeah.
definitely seeing him again, and this is all gonna blow up in somebody's face.
Yeah. Well, and like the way that he like snuck out like in a cost and like in a disguise, I'm like, yeah,
Right.
no, he's
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah.
Because if they weren't gonna bring him back, he would have like surrendered and like had
Yeah.
them. He's coming
Right.
back
Yeah.
as a
Mm-hmm.
hitman, and like he's gonna. I would almost be interested to see if he holds this over Bailey's head. Like I killed him.
Yeah.
Like I did you a favor. Now like you have to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's how Bailey and John get in trouble because
Maybe.
Bailey has to help Malvado and John somehow gets roped into it. Like
Ooh.
I could kind of see that happening and then
Mm-hmm.
that's how they have their consequences.
Yeah. Mm.
So, I don't know. But we
Mm-hmm.
know that Nolan is working with Seth at the end of the season or like later in the season as a
Mm.
TO.
Okay.
So he
Hmm.
doesn't get his TO privileges taken away.
Right.
So I don't know.
Hmm. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. But he's also had 2 shops stolen and nothing's been done with it. So who knows? But so did Smitty, and I don't think Smitty had any consequences. But also Smitty is Smitty.
Smitty is
People
Smitty.
just kind of
Yeah.
expect it, you know?
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
I don't
And
know.
then last up, we have Nyla and James, and some Angela stuff in there too. So Nyla's at work early, and we find out she left the house early to avoid James, like literally snuck out. I'm like, did she climb out of the window again?
I was
Because
gonna say,
she likes
girl,
to
you
climb out of the
gotta.
window.
She does.
Yeah, yeah.
Avoiding problems.
She
Mm.
is definitely the avoidant personality to a
Oh
T.
yeah.
To a
Mm-hmm.
T.
Yep.
So Officer Nickerson like comes by and he's like, you're needed in the interrogation room, but I'm not sure why. So she walks in and she kind of like recoils back and James is in there because like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Um, and so he was like, we were supposed to talk before you left for work, but you ended up leaving before I got up. And she's like, yeah, because I have a heavy caseload. And he's like, you always have that. Like, you're the
Right.
one who raised the red flag. We
Yep.
need to talk about it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't keep avoiding this.
Yep.
And so she's like, you're right. Let's talk right now. I'm like, is this the best place to talk about this? Like, I
It's
don't
not.
know. But
No.
also, like, you guys aren't going to talk at home. So, yeah, you got to talk right now.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. So she poses the question, what if there's no way to make you feel good about what I do? And I'm
Hmm.
like, after that, I'm like, I only see one way out of this, and I don't like it. I don't
Yeah.
like it. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to put it out into the universe. And he's
No.
like, we'll deal with it. Maybe it tears us apart, or maybe it makes us stronger, but we're gonna solve it together. Either way, it's better than silence. And I'm like, there is a grown man for you.
I
John
was gonna
Nolan.
say that is one of the sweetest
Take a
things
look.
I have heard
Yes.
ever. Like,
Yes.
woo.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
But then he's like, but I gotta leave for a meeting. I'm like, so
Okay.
what?
What was this for?
What was this? What was this? I thought you were gonna sit here and have a conversation, and he's like, "Oh,
Right.
it'll either tear us
Yeah.
apart or make us stronger." But I gotta go. I'm like,
Right. I was like,
"Did
hey,
you not just say?"
we have to
I
solve the
was like,
problem, don't
"What?"
we?
I was like, the couples that are still standing minus Lopez are not really giving mature vibes this
No.
episode. I was
No.
like, "Oh my God, I can't. I can't do
Yeah.
this."
Nope.
So before Nyla goes home to James, she's at the Lopez house because why not?
Hmm.
And she's like stalling to go home. And so she gets advice from Lopez. Even Wesley has unsolicited advice. And Nyla's like, no, I'm open to it. Like, give me a man's perspective.
I love this. This is great.
Yeah, it was really good advice. And I appreciated it coming from Wesley just because they're bros, like they're buds.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, Wesley is talking from the friend perspective for both of them, but
Hmm.
is leaning on the side of James. Like he's
Right.
telling Nyla, this is what James needs. Like,
Hmm.
I know this, we've talked about it, like. So Wesley says talk has to have an end game. What's the plan? What's the decision?
Hmm.
And I love how Angela's just watching him and she's like, yeah, I love this. Like he's he's it. Like he's
Right.
smart. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Angela adds that James doesn't have to change his position or tactics. Like it's on
Hmm.
her to do something because ultimately they do agree. Like they
Yeah,
agree on what, has to be done or
right.
what's the problem. They just
The
have to figure
problem.
out what to do.
Right.
And so Wesley's like, actions speak louder than words to guys. Like,
Hmm.
you just have to make it known that you're going to do something.
Sure.
So at the end of the episode, Nyla asks John if he would be interested in joining a group of cops who were dedicated to reform. And she's like, I don't care if it makes enemies from this, like, whatever. And I
Hmm.
love how she's like, I don't really care. Like,
Yeah,
let people hate it, whatever.
right.
And she's like, there's nothing secret about this. It's all public facing to show change from within. And while I was watching it on the second rewatch, I was like, are we just not discussing the fact that like he knows what Bailey did and is getting rewarded in a way for being one of the good cops? Like he's gonna join
Mm-hmm.
this group and like be like another righteous cop. Like
Mm-hmm.
not a righteous cop, but like he's gonna be self-righteous in this that like he knows that he's one of the good cops.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it gonna kind of internally mess with him? Like, why am I in this group when I've had
Hmm.
that all happen to me? You know?
Mm. Yeah.
I don't know. I was just
Yeah.
like,
That's
why are we
that's a good
giving John
point.
Nolan like another platform? Also, he's
Right.
union rep. Like, I feel like this is
Yeah.
something that like a union rep kind of organizes and puts the word out about. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
I kind of forgot he was union rep until this came about, and I was like, oh, that makes sense why she's going to him.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like we kind of forget that he's union rep a lot. Like they don't bring it
Mm-hmm.
up a whole lot.
They don't.
So, which also begs to differ or begs the question of like again, what kind of punishment is he gonna get
Right.
with all this Bailey stuff? Like he's got stuff to lose with the shop. He does.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
ways that like he can have stuff taken, he can have his reputation tarnished in some way. Like I don't know. I just want
Yeah.
to know where we go from here with him.
Mm-hmm.
So Nyla goes home, tells James about her plan, and says Gray gave her the approval to start a police accountability advocacy group within the station so that cops who believe that changes in policing are necessary can work together to be that change. I hope to see these scenes because I would be
Mm-hmm.
interested to see one, who's in the groups, and
Right.
two, like is there going I mean it's not going to be all like perfect conversation and like
Mm-mm.
just perfect meetings all the time but like who's in it that's kind of like pulling the strings and like kind
Mm-hmm.
of playing tug of war like who's going to be in this group
Right.
so she wants him to be the chief community liaison and he asks if that will cause trouble for her at the station. And once again, she's like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. Um, so yeah, that's where we leave off with them. I did notice that at the end of the episode, Nyla and James have like a bar cart kind of thing in their house.
Hmm.
Which is fine, but like Palm Republic was spotted at John's. So I
Mm.
looked and I was like, is it on Nyla's too? Because we know Eric's been kind of like putting it in wherever, or they've been like
Yeah.
trying to feature it, like at the bar at the gala, his house, like but I'm just kind of like, is it at Nyla's too? Like now I'm
Yeah.
like, are we like playing I Spy with this? So yeah,
That's a good
yeah.
note. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's about it for the episode. There was just a lot and a lot of like face palming, I feel like.
Yes. Yeah.
Like we're really doing this. We're
Yeah.
7 seasons in, you
Right.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it definitely felt like at times we were taking steps back,
A little bit.
with different
Mm-hmm.
things. So
Right.
yeah. So we do have a couple of listener thoughts. So Daisha said, I'm so happy for Celina. She finally made it through her rookie year. I know it probably wouldn't happen, but I would love to have a mention about Aaron, maybe him calling her to congratulate her or maybe take her out for a drink or something. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a little mention of like, hey, like she tells Lucy, yeah, like I talked to Aaron last night, like he's really excited for me,
Right.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would love to see because that's something that like he would do. You know, like it's
Absolutely.
not like out of
Yeah.
character.
No.
So yeah, no, I would love to see it.
Yep.
And then they also said it was so good to see Tamara back. I know that Lucy has her reservations about her and Seth, but I kind of like them. They're cute together. Yeah, I mean they are cute together. I don't think it would be like a long drawn out thing, but I think it
No.
could
I'd be
happen.
really surprised if it were long
Yeah.
drawn. Yeah.
I would kind of be
Unless,
surprised if it's more than like an episode, you know.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I could see Tamara kind of helping him grow up a little,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know. I don't know if that would really go very far.
Yeah. Yeah. They also said Miles is definitely growing on me. I love how he offered to be a security guard at the shelter during his
Yes.
off-duty time.
Yep.
Yeah. I would
Mm-hmm.
say right now, I mean, we're 7 episodes in, but I feel like this is a pretty like, I mean, legit thing. I feel like Miles is definitely growing more in his rookie career than Seth is.
Oh
Like
yeah. Yeah.
personality changing, like he's maturing
Mm-hmm.
more. Whereas I feel like Seth is just kind of staying stagnant with his like
Yeah.
change, you know?
Right. Right.
Because I feel like the rookie period like really makes you grow. Like
Yes.
not just as a cop, but like as a person too. And you
Right.
really like develop the critical like a critical eye. And I feel like Seth's not getting that yet. Like he's
No.
definitely not.
No.
Um and I don't even feel like he's really showing strides of that.
No.
So and that's
Yeah.
nothing like for Lucy, that's just him, I think.
Yes. Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah. They also said glad to see progress on with Nolan and Bailey and James and Harper.
Mm-hmm.
And she laughed when Gray asked Nolan how many times he's lost a shop. He said twice, but why do I think it was more? Or maybe it was that he had some destroyed and only two actually stolen. I feel like he lost a shop weekly for a while during his rookie year. Yeah, I don't know. That man is just something
Hmm.
else.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Um, she also said, I loved the advice that Wesley gave Harper. It was fun to see Angela and him helping Harper kind of figure things out. But what is his and Lopez's daughter's name? Yeah, I'm gonna have this question the entire time until we get it. Because here's another example of like, we could have had it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when
They've
he was walking in
mm-hmm.
with the wine, he could have been like, yeah, I just had to like help so and so. Like,
Right.
it's not
Yeah.
hard. It's not hard. Just
No.
give it to us.
That is
Just give
kind
it
of
to us.
interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they made such a big deal about it at the convention.
Yeah.
Or somebody made some like asked some sort of question. Will we find was it will
Oh,
we find out or something? I
yeah.
can't
I
remember.
think a couple of people like ask that question, like in the
Yeah.
Q&A and stuff.
Yeah. Something like
I
that.
don't know. I don't understand why we're dragging it out this long.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's a child's name. And like we're all like fixated on it.
Yeah.
So I mean even the actors were like, yeah, we'll get it because we're
Hmm.
wondering too. Like I don't know. It just
It's weird.
like it's got to be some kind of really special name. Like, and even then,
Right.
why are we still holding off on it? Like, it just does not make
Yeah.
any sense.
I
There's
don't know.
been multiple opportunities to say it. And
Hmm.
I feel like it's so weird and kind of dumb that like we're all like, okay, where is this child's name? And like
Yeah.
also, can we see her?
I was gonna
Like,
say.
but they still wouldn't refer to her by her name. They'd be like,
Nope.
come on, let's go. You
Right.
know, like
Yeah.
they wouldn't, yeah.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, what is this child's name? What does she look like? Where is
Mm-hmm.
she? You know, I mean, even little Jack, like I don't
Right.
know.
Where have the kids
Especially
been?
because we're supposed to be going personal with them. And we have been. Like I feel
We
like we've
have.
been going very personal, like at home with them almost every episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so where is this? Like,
Mhm.
watch it not even be like that big of a scene. And we're all just like,
Yeah.
what is it?
Mm.
You know?
I
Just
don't
kind of like
know.
we were with all the set theories. We were like, oh, he's this and this, and then it was like,
Hmm.
no. But
No.
they still could pan out, so who
True.
knows? So we also had a thought from Lou Jean, and she was saying, I was excited to see Tim in the support group, and the group moderator was right. Didn't Lucy initiate the kiss? Just couldn't help himself, I guess. She also said, I loved Lucy in this episode. Her with Seth, Tamara, and Smitty was amazing. And I've seen a lot of people who don't like Seth and Tamara, but they're low-key cute. Seth has to work on some stuff, though, for
Yes.
sure. I think he's just kind of he's not ready yet to like
Mm-mm.
have like a girlfriend or anything. And that's why I'm kind of like, I wouldn't be surprised if Seth and Tamara don't just last for like an episode or like she lets him down easy. She's like, I
Yeah.
gotta like focus
Right.
on school and you have to focus on
Something. Right.
police. Like, we can be
Mm-hmm.
friends, but like, I just don't really feel that way or
Yeah.
whatever. And then like he maybe has some heartbreak or something.
You're right.
Um, and then they also said love to the Jayla development. So
Yeah, I did
yeah,
too. That was good to see.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad that they were able to reach a conclusion,
Yes.
but I am a little nervous with him like leading it as the chief community liaison officer. And she's kind of,
Sure.
I mean, she's going to be involved in it because, like, why wouldn't she?
Right. Right.
But I'm also like, you guys were arguing at home.
Yeah.
Granted, it was just the two of you, so like maybe that would be different. You're not going to argue
Sure.
around a big group. But like if you're already arguing about stuff at home, why would you go and add yourself to it like at work? You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I don't know. I could also see them like maybe that's part of the process. Maybe they have to kind of figure these things out together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I don't know. They might,
Yeah.
yeah, it could really go either way. They could get really stronger from this and learn from each
Hmm.
other and or it could go opposite ways and that's
Yeah.
how we're left in the finale or whatever. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't like it. Like I don't like thinking that, but I'm
yeah,
also like
yeah, right,
I don't know how else it could work. I don't know. I
right.
guess we'll see next week too, because it's a big Nyla episode with Liam
Mm-hmm.
Glasser. And I mean, it's the eighth episode, and then we have a week off. So, like, it's almost kind of like the mid-season finale.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of like, okay, does Nyla really get into danger?
Mm-hmm.
And James is like, I mean, he would fit in this role that
Oh,
she's got, like he
yeah.
would.
Mm-hmm.
But does she get into some danger? And he's kind of like, no, I can't be at the station all the time and
Mm-hmm.
watching you do all this. Like, I know who I
Mm.
married, but I can't sit there and watch you do this. And also, like, I mean, he wants to fight for police change, but I think it's different when she's involved, like
Yeah,
in the police work.
right.
So yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be interesting because I think they still have a lot to work out. Like, even though
They do.
they kind of tied up that end of like how can we fix this, there's
Yeah.
still so much to go on
Yeah.
because like this could go wrong in so many ways or go right, who knows.
Right.
So
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
yeah, yeah, so that's about it for this episode. There was a lot of John Nolan ranting and just kind of confusion in some
Mm-hmm.
things. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. You can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _ or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstark804 and Carrie is at Carrie Hyman. We're on TikTok as well at the Shop Talk Podcast _ and on Blue Sky, the Shop Talk Pod. Kristen, where can we find you on social media?
Instagram, KL Hyatt 13.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for joining me again. This was so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I
This was
always
so
have
much
fun.
fun.
Yep. I'm glad to be
Yes,
back.
yes. Yeah. I'm glad that we were able to kind of talk more about Seth and like I know we were on the last
Mm-hmm.
time and you were feeling like a little iffy with him and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I mean those feelings
Yeah.
didn't change that much, but
Not much. I mean, there were some moments that
yeah.
like made like you could see he's trying a little bit, but yeah, there's still a lot of room to grow there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's about it for us this week. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Go get him, boo.